America recovering this morning from an attack on democracy. There is a lot to unpack. So here are three things to know as you wake up on this Thursday. 4 people are now dead after rioters stormed the Capitol yesterday. This happened shortly after Congress met to certify Joe Biden as the next president. Members of the Senate forced to evacuate and take cover. After things calmed down, Congress reconvened last night to pick up where they started. Shortly before 4 a.m., Congress formally confirming Joe Biden's election. He will be the next president of the United States. He's now set to be inaugurated on January 20th. Shortly afterwards, President Trump issuing a statement promising, quote, orderly transition of power. In the meantime, the White House seeing fallout from this attack. Several White House staffers handing in their resignations, including First Lady Melania Trump's chief of staff. Many Republican lawmakers also turning on President Trump, really, and denouncing the riots.
We condemn the violence that took place here in the strongest possible terms.
We will certify the winner of the 2020 presidential election. Criminal behavior will never dominate the United States Congress.
Now, after the attack, President Trump posting a video to Twitter expressing his love for supporters involved in these riots. That video was taken down by Twitter. He was banned from the social media site for 12 hours. Many media outlets deciding not to show that video because it just thinking that it would incite even more violence. Rachel, leaders both here in the U.S. and across the world reacting to the rampage at the Capitol. It was a very sad day for the United States, that's for sure.
And you could see that reflected in a lot of the statements from lawmakers and officials here in our country and all across the world. As you mentioned, there's so much feedback and a lot of them sharing those messages on their social media pages. Most of it just filled with outrage, devastation, disgust for what happened. We're going to start with some former president statements. First with President Barack Obama. He said this and tweeted it, saying that history would be reset yesterday, but the violence wasn't a total surprise. George W. Bush putting out his statement, calling it an insurrection at the Capitol, saying that it was sickening and a heartbreaking sight. Bill Clinton called it an unprecedented assault, fueled by more than 4 years of what he calls poisoning politics, putting Americans against one another. World leaders are also sharing now in the shock. Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, says that the U.S. stands for democracy around the world, and it's vital that there's this peaceful transition of power, which the president has now agreed to. And then the president of the European Union calling it a shock. Even India's prime minister, who has been had a pretty good relationship with the president, says that it was distressing to see this, that the democratic process should not have these unlawful protests and riots. German Chancellor Angela Merkel took a more tongue-in-cheek attitude. She says that her departure from the office will be very boring. Of course, we'll continue to follow the reaction from all over the world this morning. Ben, I'll send it over to you.